Hey, what's up, fam? So, yeah, I'm gonna stop at In-N-Out and just get a milkshake before work because it's so fucking hot. It's already 96 degrees and it's only May still. Now there's some fucking guy who's just parked here. Okay, we can move, buddy. What are you doing? What the fuck? Anyway, so, I want to talk about some interesting stuff. Holy shit, that sun got bright. Let me turn down the ISO. I'm sure that's as low as I can get it right now. But so man, let's see, what's the synopsis right now? This is like such a busy fucking weekend. It's EDC weekend, but I'm not even doing any of that stuff. I'm on some Kane Brown concert or something like that. So this morning I was doing this position called puller. They pays like $32 an hour, and you're up in the roof of the T-Mobile Arena with a bunch of dudes with rope, like pulling up the rope with all these boxes because there's no elevator to get the stuff up there in a way that would work. So it requires like multiple teams of pulling up speakers and stuff like that. So that was this morning's call, and now I'm going back to run the spotlight for that show. And then but yesterday is what I want to talk about, because yesterday I did this coaching call for a client. Kind of want to talk about some of his issues and stuff, because I think it will give other people, you know, some value and maybe some insights to help you guys out.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Can I get a large vanilla shake?
Large vanilla shake?
Yeah, that's it.
Would you like any burgers or fries by any chance?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Just a large vanilla then?
That's it.
Alright, that's going to be $4.06 at that first window.
So he had seen an ad for my book on, I don't know, it was a Facebook or it showed up on Instagram or whatever. He bought my book and then he bought the coaching. And this is what I was trying to tell you guys, where sometimes you're like, why don't you charge like more for this book? Like, how can you charge $6 for this book that's 600 pages that literally should be, you know, hundreds of dollars? And the paperback, yeah, the paperback is $97 and it's on sale for, I think, like $69, which is kind of funny, the number 69. And I try to keep the Kindle as low as I can, because I know that if you buy the book for $6, you're gonna buy coaching later. And he just, you know, that for a $6 book that just turned into a $99 sale. And then we get on that coaching call and they realize this is the fucking real secrets to getting girls, and 1 hour is just not enough time. I need more time, so I'm gonna buy a bundle of 6 for $4.95. So I mean, add that up, $4.95 plus 99 plus 6, $600. And then of course that could then turn into a live sale, which could be $2,000 for a day. Or with my new travel coaching package, if they decide, if they're on the other side of the country and they want me to fly to them, that's $5,500. If they're overseas, that's 35 grand. So it's not just about selling the book, this is a process. But anyways, that's just some like business and marketing insights for you guys. But anyway, what I want to talk about was the guy's issue. That was the funny part, is because, well, let me get into the story here. Oh, it's time to get this milkshake for sure. I'm kind of running late. It's already, hey. Yeah. There you go. So it's already 5:50. I need to be at work at by about 6:15. So we gotta fly. All right.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Should only be like a 4-hour call. This one's at 25 an hour, so this is 100 for until 10:30, and then I'm off until tomorrow afternoon, and then I have another coaching. Fucking knew that. So anyway, this guy, right? He calls me up, and he's explaining his situation, right? Now, of course, we only have an hour, so I can't really get into everything, but I can kind of like listen to a little bit of his issues and then give him a couple of just, you know, rapid fire tips to help him improve his dating life right away. Now, the thing is, you guys have to understand that I've been teaching this stuff for 20 fucking years. So I'm basically an encyclopedia of game. There's this big, I don't know, weird misconception where a lot of guys will say, oh, these pickup artist guys, you know, Ryan JAUNZEMIS, you prey on desperate men trying to take their money. And it's like, no, sir, People need advice, and I have all the answers in my head, so I trade money in exchange for the advice and the information that's in my head that's going to give them the answers that they need so that they can become more successful with women in dating and get the results in their dating life that they want. That's all I do. You give me money, I give you the secrets. And this is a perfect example. And it's funny because guys have these issues that could be built up over fucking years and decades of problems with women and things like that. But a guy like me can basically just look at you without you even saying anything. I could already tell you what your fucking problem is. And then as soon as you start opening your mouth, then I can tell you more of what your problems are. I'll tell you exactly what you're doing wrong and why you're not getting women. And this happens like literally within seconds. And so as soon as this guy basically comes online, I can physically look and see what he looks like. I can see how he's living, and I can see, you know, and as soon as he starts talking, I can kind of just tell the person's general demeanor, education level, their vibe, their mood, right? You can get all of these signals right away. And if I can do that as a guy, and I can look at your face and tell you, you know, whether you're a 5 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 or a 7.5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. If I can look at your body and tell you whether it's attractive or not, imagine how much more a girl can do that. So if I can look at you and I'm trained to do that and be like, okay, this is your problems, you need to do this, 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 and you might be attractive and then you might get girls if you follow this advice. Imagine a girl, she could look at you the same way and be like, yeah, this is why you don't get girls, this is your problem. So anyways, the guy starts talking, and he's basically explaining that he's been playing guitar for 30 years. And he's like, I don't understand, man. I thought playing guitar would get me girls. Okay, go on. He tells me that he's in a band. He's living in a $500,000 house. Like, these are all good things. These are great assets for him to pick up girls. This is a great foundation. I mean, if you want to build a tall building or, you know, house a tall tree, you need a good foundation, and that's pretty good. This guy's got talent. He's in a band. He's in a $500,000 house. He has albums on Spotify. Like, he has a good basis of which to build off of. But he doesn't know how to capitalize on it. And that's one of his biggest issues. He's also a little out of weight. But let's just put that on the back burner. He could be working out at the same time while he's basically going out to meet girls, and he could be lowering his body fat. He's got fashion issues. He was just dressed in like jeans and a t-shirt. It was a casual Zoom meeting, so I'm not expecting him to be dressed up, but doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would have like really good swag, right? So fashion sense could definitely be put into play there. But again, let's put those on the back burner. Let's go to the main issues right here. That stuff can, going to the gym and fixing your fashion, you can do that on your own time. But his main issue, getting down to it, as he explains a little further, is kind of like, when you hear it, you're gonna be like, wait, this is fucking dumb. Like, and it's just so blatantly obvious. Hold on. So I'm like, okay, so you're going out playing shows, you have albums. By the way, the Zoom coaching meeting that he's doing, he's in his recording studio. He's in his $500,000 house with a fucking recording studio with electronic drum sets and vocal booths set up. Like, this guy's got the life going on. He has a life that an attractive woman might want to be a part of. Like, he's a musician, he's a guitar player, he's in a band. And so I'm like, okay, so well, what is the problem here, bro? Like, what's going on? Why aren't you getting girls? Why do you think that you're not getting girls? And he's like, well, I go out and I play a show, you know, and I get a good audience, like the cheering. There's audience engagement. That's the word I'm looking for. There's like audience engagement. People are cheering, they're clapping, he's getting applause or whatever like that. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And then he's like, well, like, but they don't come up to me afterwards and I never get laid. And so I'm like, well, okay. Are you like famous? Are you like Justin Bieber? Are you a multi-platinum selling artist? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, where are you playing at? He's like, oh, like dive bars and, you know, karaoke places. Okay, so you just played a show at a dive bar, a karaoke bar. You got good audience retention and engagement. The women liked it. And then what? And then he's like, well, nobody comes up to me and they're not offering me sex, so I just go home. Okay. Here's where we have a disconnect. It doesn't work like that. You're not if you're like Justin Bieber and everybody knows you, yeah, they might come up after the show, or they'll come up during the meet and greet before the show, and you'll be able to like hand them a backstage pass and go get your dick sucked backstage. That's a completely different element than you playing guitar at a dive bar. Some girls like it, and then you just go home afterwards. You have to still talk to them. You have to fucking approach still. They're not gonna come up to, women are just, they don't approach. Unless you're a guy who's like a 10 out of 10 Chad. I'm talking a guy who's like a 6'4" male model, 6-pack abs, square jawline, looks like fucking Tom Cruise or Leo DiCaprio or Johnny Depp, like back in their 20s in their prime. Like, we're talking a face of a male model, the body of a Chippendale, the height of a pro basketball player. Yeah, she might approach that guy. But just because you played a show, yeah, she liked it, she clapped, and she's interested. And if you go up and talk to her afterwards, you can capitalize on those IOIs, on those indicators of interest, and you can turn that basic initial attraction spike into an interaction that you can then progress forward into a dating situation. But you can't expect these women at the dive bar to just be running up to you after you played your show on your guitar and want to fuck you, and then magically have women rain down from the sky onto your dick. It doesn't work like that. Like, you'll still have to approach. It's just the way that it is. And so he thought about it, and then he's like, I don't know, I mean, I've never tried that. Well, maybe that's something that you should do. And so now he's kind of got it in his head. Now I've kind of planted the seed that it doesn't work like that, and you have to approach. But what are you gonna say now? And then this is the thing with most guys, is because once I explain that, then they're like, okay, like, I'll consider trying it, but what do I say? And so what you need there is basically some form or some sort of verbal material in order to fill the gap from the time that you go up and you approach the woman until the time, let's say, that you get the phone number. If we took a microscope, right, and we just kind of put it on that little bit of timeline, you need material to fill that gap. And that's where pre-scripted or rehearsed openers or icebreakers or canned routines come into play, so that you don't have to just walk up and shoot from the hip. You'll actually have a script in your head, and you'll know exactly what to say, and it's something that you've done over and over that you know is going to get you results and get you that phone number. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, phone numbers aren't a big deal, it's all about sex. Fine, but you need a phone number to get the date in order to get the sex. So dating is basically a series of natural phases, from opening an attraction to getting a phone number and beginning comfort, and then from that point going on possibly multiple different dates, and then from that point where there's foreplay, and then sex, and then a relationship, and then beyond the relationship, and then beyond the relationship, beyond basic sex, things like getting anal sex, getting threesomes from women. So it's like a timeline. You have to master the timeline. It's so fucking hot down here. But yeah, it's like a timeline. You got to master the timeline. It's dark in here, so I'm gonna go park. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, it's like a timeline, and you got to master the timeline. And so basically, you need to be able to navigate this timeline easily, effortlessly, from point A all the way to point B, which is from meeting the girl all the way to beginning a sexual relationship. But again, for this coaching call, I can't even cover all this because we don't have enough time. We only have enough time basically to figure out what his main sticking point is, and then basically kind of, I like to call it like patching holes in your game. So there's like, let's say your opening game, you know, your phone game or your text game, and then there's like your dating game or your comfort game, your seduction game, your sex game, your relationship game. There's all these little blocks of, you know, parts of your game, and most people have holes in the bottom. So they can only go so far, and we need to patch those holes. And so in this situation, on this call, it was kind of like, okay, now we get what your problem is. You are a man of high value. You have something to offer to women, but your problem is you're not capitalizing on it. Even though you've been playing guitar for 30 fucking years and you're in a band and you have albums on Spotify, you're not approaching, and therefore you get 0 results with women. So boom. That's like the pitfall of your game right there. So if you guys don't approach, then you won't get any girls. You'll be single and alone, and it will be over for you. Game over. The end. And so that's that's the end of his game right there. He can't go any further. He can't get a date. He can't get a phone number. He can't get a date if he doesn't approach you in the first place. So that's basically where we start. And now, of course, on the call, we have basically, you know, 10 or 20 minutes left. So it's kind of like, okay, now we know that you need material to approach. And I can already tell this. I don't even know how to explain it, but as soon as the guy starts talking, you know, all these, you know, things just click together in my head and it forms a picture. And I'm just kind of like, this is your problem and this is what you need to do. It's so clear to me, but it takes a while to explain it to someone else. And so basically he decides, okay, I'm down to approach. What should I say? And so then I give him basically a bit of a structure. I say, well, you could look at it like this. Here's a script. Memorize this, and you can do this and this. Go out and try these techniques and see how they work for you. So at that point, now it's basically on him to go and try those techniques and see if it works a little bit for him. And of course, if he does it, I know that it will. Then that is the point basically where he'll say, okay, I can see that there's something to this, but clearly I need to handle the rest of my game. And that's, of course, where you get basically the 6-hour bundle. Because then for $495, we have 6 whole hours that we can split into any way that you want. Like 3 hours one day, 3 hours another day. We could do all 6 hours in one day, or we could do 1 hour per week for 6 weeks. It just depends. My coaching is fully 100% customizable. It's all client-centric. So I work with you. It just all depends basically on both of our schedules and, you know, making everything line up. And so ideally, it seems like that's what he's going to do next. And then basically that would give us 6 full hours to basically cover the rest of his approach game and then try to patch as many holes in the rest of his game as we can. And then when clients need more time, I have a 64-hour coaching bundle package, which is like 64 hours with me on Zoom for just $4,700. And that's called the 64-hour Elite Mentorship Coaching Program. And that's basically where we do 8 hours a week for 8 weeks. So you can imagine getting 64 hours of coaching time with me on Zoom over the course of 2 months, where we can basically hit every single point of your game. And that program is much more structured, where it's like week 1, we discuss this. Week 2, we discuss this, all the way up to week 8. And it basically covers every fucking point in the game. And that's gonna help you to fully optimize every area and aspect of your life and your game and maximize your results with women and dating. And the best part of that is that both of us get to do it from the comfort of our own home. So you're just sitting at your house on your computer in Zoom, and I'm sitting in my house, and we can do it on our own schedule, whether it's a $99 1-hour call or it's $4,700 for 64 hours. So I think that's a fantastic deal. Anyway, so I got to go clock in for this shift, go get this $100. And anyway, I'm going to take off. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more. Leave your comments in the box below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Good luck and game on, fellas. Peace.